We begin with a community grieving after a mass shooting in Louisiana. 10 people were shot in Shreveport. 8 were killed, all of them children. The gunman also dead. Police say the attacks happened at 2 homes. CBS's Jason Allen is there for us tonight with the details. Jason.
Jarika, good evening. People are still filling this Shreveport neighborhood tonight, emotional and upset over this shooting that happened both at this house behind me and another one just up the road. And police told me in the last hour it was a survivor of the shooting who escaped and called them to tell them about it. Just after 6 o'clock this morning, when police got here, they found 10 people had been shot. 8 of them had been killed. And as you mentioned, all 8 of those were children. Police also confirming for me that at least 7 of those 8 children were the children of the shooter, who they identified as Shamar Elkins. After the shooting, police say that Elkins carjacked someone just down the street, got into a pursuit with police, stopped. They say he produced a handgun and police officers shot him there at the scene. Louisiana State Police tonight are
to harm another human being, let alone that of children who have their whole life ahead of them.
Shreveport police said that they had one previous run-in with Mr. Elkins, but looking back at that history, Jarika, they said there is nothing that would explain anything like what happened here in Shreveport this morning.
Cedar Grove was asleep. It was pre-dawn Sunday morning, April 19th, 2026. Porch lights were still on. Dogs were quiet. The 300 block of West 79th Street looked exactly like every other block in Shreveport at that hour. Ordinary. Still, safe. Inside one small house on that street, 8 children were sleeping. The youngest was 3 years old. The oldest was 11. Some of them were curled up together the way kids do when a house is full of cousins and siblings. Some of them were still holding things. None of them were going to wake up. Now, before we go any further, I need to make you 2 promises. Promise 1. By the time this video ends, you will understand exactly how the system failed these children 7 years before this morning. Promise 2. You will know every sign that was sitting in plain sight that nobody caught. You stay with me, because this story is not just about one man. The man who owned that house was 31 years old. His name was Shamar Elkins. To Cedar Grove, he was a familiar face. 7 children called him Daddy. He had worn a military uniform for 7 years. He had posted Easter photos just days before this morning. He had posted a daddy-daughter date just hours before. If you are new here, subscribe right now and turn on that notification bell. Because this is the kind of story that demands to be understood, not just watched. By 6 a.m. on April 19th, 2026, every single one of those 8 children was dead. And the neighborhood that thought it knew Shamar Elkins had no idea who he actually was. Cedar Grove knew the man with 7 kids and a soldier's posture, but the record knew something else entirely. And that record goes back further than most people realize. Shamar Elkins was born and raised in Shreveport. From 2013 to 2020, he served in the Louisiana Army National Guard. His title sounded serious on paper: Signal Support System Specialist, Fire Support Specialist. He never deployed overseas. He left as a private. No medals, no combat record. But to the people around him, that uniform meant everything. It meant discipline. It meant structure. It meant a man you could count on. He was a father 7 times over. 3 boys, 5 girls. Their last names were different. Pugh, Snow, Elkins, because they came from different relationships. But they were all his. Cousins moved in and out of that house on West 79th Street constantly. A whole web of little lives tied to one man. His public image was spotless. Church Sundays, and birthday photos, school pickups, Easter outfits lined up on a couch and posted for everyone to see. The kind of father who showed up. The kind of man who seemed grounded. Here is where Promise 1 lands. Back in 2019, Shamar Elkins fired a handgun near Caddo Magnet High School. Children were outside. Bullets were going off near a school full of kids. He pleaded guilty to illegal use of weapons. The judge gave him 18 months of probation. No prison, no jail, no mandatory treatment. He walked out of that courtroom and went back to his life. The Shreveport police spokesperson would later say, "This is entirely a domestic incident." That sentence does not begin to cover what the system missed. For the next 7 years, Elkins lived in that same community. He raised those same children. He kept access to those same kinds of weapons. But nobody went back to check. Nobody revisited the man who had fired shots near a schoolyard full of kids. And in the background of all of it, his marriage was breaking down. A custody court date was coming. 7 children were the legal battlefield. Something was building inside Shamar Elkins. And the people closest to him were about to miss every single sign. The warning was not hidden. It was not buried in a file somewhere. It was sitting in plain sight on a phone screen. And the Saturday before it all happened looked exactly like every other Saturday. Saturday, April 18, 2026. Shamar Elkins took his oldest daughter to a burger spot. Just the two of them. He posted about it online. Daddy-daughter date, smiles, a hug on camera. The kind of post you double-tap without a second thought. That same afternoon, the rest of the children were at the house, running around, arguing over the tablet. Soraya, the 11-year-old, was probably helping the little ones the way oldest kids always do. Jayla, 3 years old, was probably underfoot, still learning her full sentences. Normal Saturday noise. Here is where Promise 2 lands. 10 days before that morning, Shamar Elkins posted something different. Something about his mental health. Something about needing prayer. It did not read like a clear cry for help. It read like a man who was tired. A man carrying something heavy with nowhere to put it down. And every single person who saw that post kept scrolling. Here is what we now know were the 5 warnings nobody connected in time. 1. He fired a gun near a school in 2019 and received only probation. 2. He had access to multiple weapons with 0 follow-up monitoring. 3. His marriage was collapsing with a custody court date approaching. 4. He posted publicly about his mental health deteriorating 10 days prior. 5. Hours before the killings, he posted a daddy-daughter date like everything was fine. 5 signals, all visible, all ignored. That night, the children went to bed. Cousins and siblings pressed together the way kids do in a full house. A 71-year-old neighbor who had lived on that same street since 1991 said he had never in his life seen anything like what was coming. Not on that block. The children's names were Soraya, Markaden, Layla, Kayla, Kadarian, Brillan, Shayla, and Jayla, 3 years old. 8 children closed their eyes on West 79th Street. None of them knew what their father had already decided. That mental health post was public. His family saw it, his friends saw it. Drop A in the comments if you believe we need to do better at recognizing those signs before it is too late. The children were asleep. The block was quiet. And a man with 2 guns and a decision already made was moving through the dark toward the people who trusted him most. His first stop was not West 79th Street. At approximately 5 a.m., Shamar Elkins drove to Harrison Street. His girlfriend lived there. He walked in and shot her multiple times. She was critically wounded. He left her bleeding and drove away. Harrison Street to West 79th Street is a quarter mile. 5 minutes at that hour with no traffic. A quarter mile between 2 women he had put bullets in and 8 children who were still asleep. He walked into that house. His wife was there. He shot her in the face. She survived. Then he kept going. Shreveport police confirmed most of the children appear to have been shot in their sleep. Jayla, 3 years old, Shayla, 5, Brillan, 5, Kayla, 6, Kadarian, 6, Layla, 7, Markaden, 10, Soraya, 11. 1 child climbed onto a neighbor's roof trying to escape. They were shot on that roof. Their bodies stayed there until the sun came up and officers began working the scene. A teenager also on the scene survived by falling from the roof with non-life-threatening injuries. Elkins left. He carjacked a vehicle at the intersection of Linwood Avenue and West 79th Street and drove out of Shreveport into Bossier Parish. Louisiana State Police picked up the chase. It ended on Brampton Lane in Bossier City. Shots were exchanged. Shamar Elkins died at that scene. And City Councilman Grayson Boucher said the killings had more than doubled the city's homicides for the entire year. In one morning, one man, one house. Share this video right now, because domestic violence does not always announce itself loudly. And the people in your life need to know what it looks like when nobody intervenes. 18 months of probation for firing a gun near a school full of children. 7 years later, 8 of them are dead. Tell me in the comments, does that feel like justice to you? The gunfire had stopped. The chase was over. But in Cedar Grove, the silence that followed was the loudest thing that neighborhood had ever heard. Over 30% of crimes in Shreveport are domestic. Over 30% of the murders in Shreveport are domestic. This was not a random act. Yes, this was a pattern with a known address and a documented history that the system touched once and never touched again. The 2019 conviction was the moment. That was the door. The judge opened it, looked at Shamar Elkins, and waved him through. 7 years later, 8 children paid the price for that decision. We all scrolled past that mental health post. Not because we did not care, because there are 10 posts like that in every feed every day, and we have all learned to keep moving. That has to stop. If you or someone you know is in a situation where the anger is getting louder and the threats are starting to feel real, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline right now. The number is 1-800-799-7233. Any hour, any day. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. Because these children deserve a channel that keeps saying their names long after the news cycle moves on. Say one name in the comments. Just one. Let this comment section belong to them. Jayla, Shayla, Brillan, Kayla, Kadarian, Layla, Markaden, Soraya. 8 children fell asleep in Cedar Grove on a Saturday night. They deserved to wake up.